Hey everybody, welcome to another session and conversation of fan power, where we have uncut and unfiltered conversation with beautiful, strong women. So today I have Amanda with me, and she's from Malta. When I first heard that, I actually had to Google where Malta is, but it actually is a very beautiful place. And Amanda is a law of attraction coach, and she is currently, her passion is about helping parents become more consciously aware of their behavior so that they can raise conscious and loving children. And recently, she just told me that recently she conducted a workshop that was just amazing, full house, sold out, and the attendance was really great, and how she's helped this mother calm her sundown, which is something that I'm interested in, because even though I'm spiritual, but I realize that when I'm dealing with my kids, I just turn into my mother or my parents. So without further ado, let's warmly welcome Amanda.
Hi, Elise. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction.
So
And yes,
tell
I'm so
us
excited
in your
to.
own words
Mhm.
who you are. I'm excited to have
Okay,
you here
sure.
too.
I am a law of attraction life coach from Malta, and I focus mainly on healing relationships in one's life through using law of attraction tools and techniques. So, relationship with the self, with our children, with our partners, with money, and just all different relationships. And the reason I focus mostly on my mother, being the relationship with my daughter, is because well, obviously this is something that affects us every day at its most. She's 5 and she's a great teacher, right? They come here, I believe, with this big purpose to teach us what we need to learn. And in fact, she brought the law of attraction into my life from when she was just a tiny seed. Because when I found out I was pregnant, I had just split up with my boyfriend at the time. And it was a very tough time because I didn't want to be a single mom. I didn't want to have an abortion. It was a scary time. So somehow the universe guided me. At this point, I didn't know anything about law of attraction consciously. I knew subconsciously. And I ended up with this lady who does like spiritual healing. And at the end of the session, she gave me the DVD, The Secret. And I
The
watched
famous
it, and that
secret.
was it. It was like the aha moment we all hear about. It was like, boom, everything I ever believed and thought is not just a metaphor, because it's easy to think it's a metaphor, think positive and positive things will come, but that actually it's a fact, a universal law, and something that can change your life. So from that moment, law of attraction took over. My interest grew so much. And since then, Katie and I, who's my daughter, have been on this journey of learning how to, deal with each other and have the best outcome.
So is she a better manifester than you?
Oh my gosh, she is crazy manifester. Okay, I'll actually tell you a little story on that note. I had a 6-week course called Mastering the Law of Attraction, and the last session was creating a vision board. So the next day I came home and it was a Sunday, and I said, okay, let's create a vision board. And we did. It's actually right here. I will show you in a second, because she had been wanting bunnies for like 3 months. We had been talking about it, and somehow it never happened. It just never flowed. That morning, we printed out a photo of bunnies, and the one she chose, had 2 bunnies on it, and we stuck it on there. The next day, now this just happened, like it so happened that I had, that extra €100 to go and spend on bunnies. And I had the time, like a literally 45-minute time frame, and something just propelled me to go to the pet store, and we got 1 bunny. And what we realized when we came home is that the bunny she chose was the exact same bunny she had picked put on the vision board. And I was like, oh my God. And then by the end of the week, we bought the second one. So she literally manifested her 2 bunnies. And I'm just going to show you real quick, because it's right here. Can you just see that? There are the 2 bunnies. So out, how things are possible. That, when she wants something and I feel like I can't give it to her, I won't tell her no. I'll just tell her, find a way to get it, put it on your vision board. And now she's like this little entrepreneur, always like finding ways to make money. There was one afternoon we were having lunch, and I always take my foolscap with me because she loves to draw. And she said, Mommy, Daddy, I'm going to draw your portrait. So she drew our portrait. And I mean, she drew like a 5-year-old, but after she was done, she said, Mommy, I want to charge €5 for this. And I was like, okay. So I made her sign, get your portrait done, €5. That afternoon, she made €23. She actually went up to like a few different people and asked them for money and drew, her little portrait as she did. And they were, people were so lovely to encourage her. And then there was this one person, he told her, I only have 3. Showed him, no, it's 5. So then I told her, okay, so now it's your choice. You can either make 3 or make nothing. So you can give him a bargain, and make some money, or you can just walk away. She said, okay, I'll take the €3 then, and it's like she's this little entrepreneur. And I feel like this happens when we just give them responsibility of what we can, I mean, obviously we need to have boundaries with safety and such. But I feel like whenever I can, I just give her responsibility to make her own choices. And she chooses when she wants to eat, what she wants to eat, what she wants to wear. And although they're just little things, I feel like it gives them confidence. It gives them the confidence to say, I can choose for myself. My parents believe in me. I don't need to rely on my parents for everything. And I feel like this is what has given her the confidence to, at 5 years old, go up to people and ask them for money, for a portrait. And it's not like she's some artist at 5 years old. She was like just a, little doodle or whatever. So I feel like this helps a lot, giving them the confidence to choose and decide for themselves within boundaries, of course.
Okay. So isn't that amazing to give them tools at the beginning when actually we didn't have the tools? So can you imagine if we had the tools, then today we'd be like, woohoo.
Yes. In fact, this is my dream. This is why I feel like I'm here. I want to put law of attraction in schools in Malta and, all over the world. I know there are these conscious schools out there, but I want it to be like for everyone, not where there are the conscious schools and then there's this depressing system, but that all schools have these tools of teaching them how to deal with emotions, how to take responsibility over their life, how to manifest. And my friend Melody, sorry, she does a soul blueprint, and I did one with her, and she confirmed it, and it was so amazing to hear that, because she told me like, this is what I'm here to do. So that was absolutely amazing, that this is what I feel like I'm passionate about, and then it's in my soul blueprint. So it's something that's very close to my heart. And I feel like our kids come to us to give us exactly what we need to know and learn. And this is how, and my daughter has given me these things.
So what if those people who don't have children, law of attraction will still come looking for them, no?
Of course, law of attraction is working for everyone without a doubt, whether you know it or not. But the reason I'm focusing so much on parenting, I guess parenting can be very hard and very triggering. And although I also do work with people who aren't parents, I feel like since I have learned so many ways to deal with it much easier, that's like my message to share right now. But 100% it works for everyone. That's something for sure.
So you talked about law of attraction and relationships. How does law of attraction help, relationships? Can you give us an example?
Of course, yes. So, law of attraction states, what you focus on expands, where energy goes, energy grows. What you give is what you get. And that everything is a reflection of your inner being. So in light of all things, if in a relationship we're just focusing on the issues, the problem, what's wrong with our partner, what's wrong with our child, then that's what's going to keep growing, because that's the energy you're focusing on. So law of attraction invites us to look at it. Yes, it's very important to look at whatever's going on, whether it's good or bad. Bad as in perspective, but to then learn ways to deal with that in a different way. So that life is just giving you exactly what you need and exactly the lessons you need to learn. And when we welcome these situations rather than reject them, that energy is very different. So you have reject, which is like a tight energy. So you're not allowed to flow like within yourself. But if we allow ourselves to be upset, if we allow ourselves to be angry, in a productive, healthy way where we don't project that on other people, but where we work with our anger, we work with these tough emotions, and then we really get to know ourselves, because that's why they're there, And the recent movie, the Emoji movie, which we watched this week, and I have this passion for kids movies and really getting the message from them. And what I saw from that movie is that, we can't just have one emotion. Because if we do, we have to be fake. We have to always honor what we're feeling and not be in this box of this is how we should feel, this is how we should be, but to just really honor every emotion that comes up, because that really leads us to our true essence, to our true self, by releasing and acknowledging and finding a way to move forward from these emotions.
Right. So you talked about being fake, but we know there are plenty of fake people around, right? So do you think people are actually afraid of their emotions?
It can be scary. It can be scary. And the reason is what we said before, because we're not taught in school how to deal with emotions. And going back one generation and two generations, to no fault of their own, our parents, our grandparents, there was so much love. But the way love was shown back then was through a lot of discipline. Like the way to raise kids was like very restricted and regimented. And this is just the way it was. But now the ripple effect of that is happening. So if we had to give the kids tools from now, and I try to do this with my daughter as well, where when she's upset or moody, I sort of bring her to the attention to try and go deeper. What's this really about? Why are you in a bad mood? Why are you angry? It's not just about the why.
So are kids actually more in touch with their situation? Because you're asking her like as if as you're coaching her. Is she open to coaching or such questions like this? Can she actually tell you why she's angry? Like,
Yes. She's gotten very used to it now, and she does it very well. And a little funny story is my partner went to a silent retreat last month of Katie Byron for 5 days. And a couple of days after he was back, Katie turned around to me and said, "Mommy, I'm feeling angry. Do you think I need to go to a silent retreat?" That just made me laugh so much. But she really is dealing with this well, because I feel like I give her the tools. When you're stuck in emotion, you don't have to just be imprisoned by it. But if you get to know it, then you can be in your power over it, And yes, I'm glad you asked that question, because I've realized lately that now, once I direct her within herself when she's not, feeling so great, she'll really get there fast. And I've heard that, kids can get in their heart space very easily. So if we just show them how, and at first I was confused of how to do this, but then I learned that it's not about telling them to be happy when they're sad. It's about showing them what happy means. So when they're happy, we show them, okay, so this is what it's like to feel happy.
But hang on just a minute. But I think that's a good point. It's not about telling them to be happy when they are sad. But that's exactly how we were taught, right? Like, don't create so much havoc. Just keep quiet. Don't talk too much. Like, she'll put a happy face. Yeah.
That's it. So now we're giving them different tools, because we have different tools. And, in our group, right, Shareable Society, I feel like so many of us have these stories of our kids just going for it, because we've all shown them what's possible, and that they can do what they want, and that we believe in them. And this is like why our kids are so conscious and just taking charge of their life and just going for it, And this is why I feel as well nowadays there's so many, it has its bad side as well, but there's so many like young kids, reaching stardom at a young age, because now they know they can.
I was going to ask, do you think the souls that come in after us, they just come in with a different knowing? You
Yeah.
know, they were just
Like our
born.
kids.
They're just born
Me.
with the inner knowing, right? Like they can do everything they want. They can, or like, you know, when you tell them off, they say, you know, you're not the boss of me. It's like I would never like dreamed of saying such thing to my parents. I would be killed, like not literally,
Yeah.
but you know, chopped and like just banished.
Yeah. I mean, I think it still comes down. Yes, the consciousness of kids now are here to save the planet, and do give us this possibility. But I still feel it's down to what we allow. Like, do we allow them to be themselves? Do we allow them to express
But
themselves? You
actually,
know,
the
like,
contrary is also it's the opposite is also happening. Like you see, kids are so resilient, they're smart, but the other side, they have so much emotions they can't handle. They throw tantrums. Like you know, you're telling me of the story of the boy throwing tantrums and this and that. It's like there is so they're just so opposite. Like in the past, yes, although we don't know ourselves, but we would never throw tantrums like this. I don't know about
yeah.
where you're from, but you know, in my Asian culture, Chinese culture, you cannot throw a temper like this.
Mm.
You know, so
Yeah, that's
the
right. Because you
emotions
get hit,
are.
say it's like just, you know, there's no allowance. Where instead of now it's like, let's all see exactly what's going on. You know, like Katie Byron says, talking about loving what is. Let's love what is. If what is a tantrum, let's love that and learn from it. You know, and
So coming back to
yeah.
what loving what is, do you think actually the parents are having so much problem and therefore the kids are having a tantrum spat is because the parents have to take responsible. They're not accepting their child as what it is, what they are, and they're expecting their child to be something different, and they're not.
Yes, I do, and I'll share this story now, because we talked about it before. But so a couple of weeks ago, I was with a friend, with some friends, and I had just met this woman. She was there in their apartment, and she had a boy. He was like almost 2.
Oh, the terrible two.
Terrible twos, because I didn't experience that, so I feel like that's a belief. But yes, so since it is a belief and it is out there, it's what happens for most people. And he had just woken up, this kid, and straight away, you know, he started crying, and she couldn't calm him down. And she tried to offer him milk and yogurt and this and that, as we do, offering all these things, but it just got worse. And yeah, I mean, that's what we do. But why? Why does that happen? Because we look for the answer outside of ourselves. What can I, instead of really going within?
Actually, I'm not sure, but I don't think we're looking outside, but I think we're just modeling what our parents did for us. You know,
sure,
like just give sweets.
Sure.
I didn't think of it that way. Like we didn't. It's outside, but I just
no.
That's just
we don't think of it that way. But I feel like this is how we're programmed. The answer is never within me. It's out here.
That's true. That's true.
Right?
I didn't think about it that way.
Let me just let's like, okay, let me try this and that and fix the kid and fix that and fix, you know, how can I fix that from over there? But when I had to go within, so I'll continue the story. So the tantrum got worse, and he was crying for over an hour.
Oh my God, that's bad for a child.
Yes. And there was like we were 4 adults and 3 kids. And I had just met this woman, so I didn't want to, she didn't even know who I was and what I do, so I didn't want to just sort of interfere, you know, but then that's the ego trying to give us that doubt instead of just shining, you know. So, but this situation forced me. So I just went next to her. I asked her to sit on the sofa, and even though he was screaming,
it forced you
crying,
because the screaming forced you, right, to calm the peace of everybody.
Exactly. Yes. And this is why extreme situations and bad situations are good, because they force us to do what we need to do. So I sat her down on the sofa, and I was like, okay, just sit with me. And I started to take her within herself, and I was asking her what she was feeling. She was telling me she was feeling uncomfortable and desperate, and she didn't know what to do, and she felt like she needed to cry. So I told her to go ahead and cry, and she started to tear up a bit. And then, you know, all I did was direct her to the energy. So I asked her where she was feeling it. She was feeling in her solar plexus, and then I pointed out that solar plexus is energy we carry from other people. So this is just a programming she picked up, that she needs to react this way from a family member or whoever. Usually our mother, but and I know that firsthand. And Anyway, so I directed her to the energy and I talked of the self-judgment. I was reminding her that it's okay for this to be happening, that he's a 2-year-old boy. It happens. We're all conscious people here. She doesn't have to feel bad that we're uncomfortable. She doesn't have to feel uncomfortable for us. And through this conversation, with her eyes closed and going within, I took her out of the self-judgment, right to the energy. And I just asked her to give it love, by thinking of love rather than judgments on the self. And within 5 minutes, like the first few minutes, I was like, no, in my head thinking, it's getting worse. I'm not doing, and I was like, no. I was quieting down those inner thoughts.
What was getting worse? The boy?
Like the crying.
Oh,
the crying,
okay.
yes. So at first it was getting worse. But I was like trying to quiet down my own doubts and just stuck with it. And after 5 minutes, he stopped crying. He sat on her lap and they hugged. I just got goosebumps. That moment for me was like so amazing that I could help her do this. Was absolutely breathtaking for me and just really why I do this, And then they hugged for a while. And then that was it. He was calm for the rest of the afternoon.
So what it feels like is like actually, because kids are so sensitive, right? It was her self-judgment that is actually pushing her son away, and her son felt the self-judgment and he got scared and didn't know what to do with her energy.
Exactly.
So when she calmed down, then he calmed down in like 5 minutes.
5 minutes. They are our energetic mirror.
Right.
And I have learned this, since having Kate. Because every time I had an issue with parenting, I always went for an energetic answer, a spiritual answer. This is what's helped me most. I didn't just try and read books and, of the information that's out there and ask other parents, but I went to healers, to people who know energy. And I learned it to that way. And all the things I've learned over the 5 years helped me bring to that moment. And in fact, she asked me, how did you learn to do that? And it was just a combination of every different answer I looked for and the way I study energy and law of attraction, which made me learn that if we just work with our energy, we can solve anything, And then she came to my workshop, which was, as you said, was a great turnout. And not only because of the turnout, the great thing was getting parents together to share what's going on and giving them solutions. That was really powerful for me. And she also said that she did not manage to, she asked me, she said, since that day, I've tried this alone, but it hasn't worked as well with you not being there. And I feel like this is, like when we learn something new, we need to stick to the practice, like to not give up if it doesn't work the first time, to stick to the practice.
But she had a valid question, like, why is it that you can do it and she can't?
Right. Okay. So I truly believe that the reason why everything works in the world is because everybody has a unique gift. And if we are all honored everybody's unique gifts, everyone's life would be 100% better. Example being, if we want to lose weight, hire a trainer. If you want to get your finances sorted, hire an accountant. If you want to get your emotions sorted and a plan to move forward, hire a life coach. And as well, there's so many life coaches that do so many different specific things, which is why we all can get the exact perfect help. And it's also why my life has changed over the last 7 years since law of attraction came into my life, because every time I had an issue, I hired the right person to teach me how to get out of it. So it's just about hiring the right person to teach you exactly what you need to learn to solve your problem. And then, continuing the practice and continuing to go to these people who can help you most until you've mastered it and can do it by yourself. And I feel like this also takes a stand for, reaching out for support. We're not meant to do it alone. We're meant to reach out. We're meant to ask for support. We're meant to feel like we're one and we can rely on each other. So I feel like that's the best approach.
So how has law of attraction changed your life?
Well, if we go back, to when I started, I was in a very toxic relationship. I didn't earn much money.
So define toxic relationship.
Okay, so there was addiction involved. He had an addiction, and I was very codependent. So, we were both sort of feeding off each
How did
other's
your
insecurities.
codependency look like? Like if you go out, you feel needy, like you feel very
Like,
insecure.
I always needed to be in his business. Is he happy? Is he okay? Is he clean? How's he feeling? Him.
So you're
It
like
was always
mothering him, basically. Sort of.
exactly, yes. I was mothering him, and that's what fed my insecurities. So we were both
So
coming from a very
you
insecure
felt
place.
you needed to be in his business to feel like you were needed. Is that how you were? Is that
Yes,
what your thing is?
and
Okay.
yes. That's so, and that's something I realized, because he always tells me, because basically we were together for 10 years and split up for almost 2 years, and now we've been back together 9 months, and it's very different relationship now. And he always said to me, like, you love your business, you could be there all day. And I've realized the reason is because what I get from my business is that approval. It's like people are listening to me, I'm helping people. So I get that nourishment from it. Now, luckily, it nourishes me and nourishes them. So that's the great thing about it. But I also, saying that, I feel like that's why our insecurities lead us to exactly what can teach us most about lives and our life lessons. Because it's through that chaos of a toxic relationship, of arguments and resenting each other and fighting every day and insulting each other. And well, he used to insult me mainly. Through all that taught me to stop blaming him, take responsibility of my life, learn how to love myself more. And that's what has brought me to this place now where I feel much stronger to stand on my own 2 feet, make decisions for myself,
So
and
I
come
think a
from
lot
a
of
love.
women, sorry, I think a lot of women can relate, like they're in a toxic relationship, they don't know how to get out of it. So what was because you were in it for 9 years, right? So what
Yes,
was the breaking point for you? Like, you know what, 9 years, it's enough. Like, obviously you tolerated for 9 years. It's not a short period of time, like 9 years. So what was that breaking point for you?
no, it was, yeah. Of course, there were many times we almost split up. As I said, when I found out I was pregnant was one of them. But then obviously we decided to work it out. You know what the funny thing, the breaking point was where I realized I had been telling my friends the same story for 10 years. It was 10 years. And I was like, how long are you going to keep telling them the same story and realizing it's never going to change?
And I'm surprised they were stuck with you for 10 years and they didn't get bored of you.
I know they love me a lot, they love me a lot because they always just supported me through it. But that was a big thing. That was a big thing. And the shift really started to happen when I really, really got into my business and started learning ways to take responsibility. And things really started to change for me when we had a restaurant together. So you can imagine addiction, chef, a lot of, yeah, we were both chefs. And then he was a chef and I used to run front of house in our restaurant. So there was a lot of clashing, a lot of butt heading and egos. And that's when I started listening to Wayne Dyer every day because he teaches so much about ego and learning about my ego and how blaming him was keeping me stuck. I was very right to blame him, he was not really treating me the way I should be treated. But that mindset is what kept me reliving that for 10 years. Once I switched my mindset to actually, if this is happening because I'm creating my reality, then there must be something within me that creates this point of attraction. Once I started to learn to do that, take responsibility, and start to detach from my ego, then I started to see that, you know what, he's only being so horrible to me because he has nothing to give but, hate, resentment, because he hates and resents himself.
So how long did that take you to make the decision from that point of awakening?
I think it was the last 2 years. Last 2 years where I had this point where I started to treat it differently. And then, in fact, the last 2 years, it got better. The arguments were less. There was less shouting because I wasn't available for it anymore. I learned I had a different choice. I didn't have to put up with it anymore. And I started to tell him literally, like, if he would get in an argument, start insulting me.
I think this also stems from childhood, like what you said early on, like I'm no longer available. But I think sometimes when women are so involved in this story, when they're in this toxic relationship, they really feel like I don't have a choice, right? Did you feel
Yes.
like you didn't have a choice? Like, this is the best that I can go? Like,
Yes. I mean, it wasn't as such, I didn't feel like I have a choice. It's like I didn't know
right.
at all that another choice was available until I
So
started
you
getting
didn't
into the
know.
coaching. Yeah, I didn't know. And then when I got into law of attraction and becoming a coach and doing my training, I started to see all these women who were taking a stand for themselves in their power, making their own money, living their dream. And I was like, oh, so I can do this for myself. I can make different choices for myself. I don't have to accept being mistreated.
But
And I
what
can
is,
take responsibility for why.
but at that time, did you feel like, I mean, I'm sure you have girlfriends who have like got beautiful lives, good relationships. They didn't like kind of like sort of like remind you that, hey, you know what, I could have that too? Because I'm sure a lot of women was in that situation have friends that has got like beautiful relationships, but just didn't think that, cannot put the two and two together, right? Did you think that?
Personally, I feel that when we're really in that subconscious programming, we don't see anything else. Like our friends might tell us, this isn't good for you, get out of it.
Yeah.
But the truth is, until you learn, until you
But
reach
you
that
couldn't
point,
hear
you
the
realize,
advice.
yeah, like you have that point where you're like, okay, enough, no more. No one can tell you otherwise. And I feel like because the subconscious mind is 90% of our consciousness and so powerful, coming, as you said, from the programming as a child, because if we see, like my programming was my parents, although supported me and loved me, they didn't give me the emotional attention. And through the lack of emotional attention, then I was sexually abused when I was 9, because all of a sudden someone was like showing me love, but in a very wrong way. But as a child, you can't tell the difference.
That's right.
And then I started to attract abusive relationships, but verbally abusive.
So interesting.
Until now,
That's right, because when you were 9, you couldn't tell the difference. So you unconsciously you thought this was normal.
Yes.
So as you were
Yes.
growing up, you started attracting things because your subconscious think this is normal, until you realize that dum dum, this is not normal.
Exactly, until you start to learn that, like you're saying, this is not normal, this is not what I have to live with, not what I have to put up with, and you start to create something new. But until there's that aha moment, you're blind.
But you're right.
This is how I see.
It's like, your friends, although they love you, they must have given you advice, but it's just like,
oh, for sure,
it's just like,
for sure,
you can't hear it because you are so involved with your own story and relationship.
Because you're programmed in a way that tells you this is normal, like you said. This is normal. Abuse in a relationship is normal. Love equals abuse. This was my normal.
Right.
So I didn't know, but then I started to, because I was, my business is all about law of attraction coaching. I started to learn about reprogramming the subconscious mind. And as we know, you teach what you want to learn. And once you start to master it for yourself, you can change your life and then share it with others. So I feel like that was my journey.
Exactly. So where can we find you in the beautiful space called the internet?
Right. Yes. So my website is under construction, but in the meantime, you can find me on Facebook, and that's www.facebook.com/life coaching abundance. And my page is called Abundance Life Coaching by Amanda Savona. And I share lots of law of attraction tips there daily. And I'm just about to start doing some regular Facebook Lives. So if anyone has any questions with law of attraction, you're very welcome. And I'm very excited to be sharing more of this information now that we have this great thing called Facebook Live.
So very quickly, give us a tip on law of attraction.
Okay, so you want to start to see change in your life, then step 1, stop and think about what you want. Write down what you want and then reflect on how you're holding yourself back from getting those things that you want, and then come up with an action plan to move forward with getting these steps. And part of that action plan could be like, hiring a coach or a healer or someone that can heal the very thing that's holding you back. But it all starts with awareness, which is why stop, pen and paper, and write down what you want, because most people don't even know what they want. And that's where the change starts. And then that leads to thoughts become things, words create a reality, and so on.
Awesome. Great tips. So if you want to know more about law of attraction, curious about law of attraction, questions about law of attraction, feedback about law of attraction, go to Amanda. She's your gal. Facebook.com/life coaching abundance by Amanda. I will have the link up on this page so you can find her easily. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Do you have any last things to say to us, Amanda?
Last thing I'll say to you is have fun, because sometimes we get so caught up in life, and I feel like that's what our kids are here to teach us as well. Don't take life so seriously, just have some fun, and the answers will come more clear, because fun is more of a flowing energy.
Right.
So thank you very much. This was an amazing hour, or however long that was. And I look forward to speaking to you soon. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, we said a lot in 36 minutes.
Yes.
But I guess that's because it was so much fun.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Amanda, for sharing your time with us, sharing your tips with us, sharing your heart, your mind, and allowing us to pick your brain and your heart and your energy. And thank you so much. So I'll talk to you soon, and I'll talk to you soon. All right. Take care. Goodbye.
Bye.